A couple of months ago, Spike attended the new generation Volvo XC90 launch in Cape Town, and he chose the D5 turbo diesel version for his first drive. But we were quite intrigued about the fact that the petrol version comes as a 4-cylinder 2-litre turbo. This is a 2-ton vehicle, and it seems a little bit small for a vehicle of this size, which is why we've decided to try out the XC90 T6.
Volvo's move to smaller turbocharged engines doesn't come as much of a surprise. It's already an established trend in the global auto industry because smaller engines are lighter and more efficient, while turbocharging still allows ample power and torque. Different models are now differentiated by the engine's state of tune rather than its capacity. So don't be too concerned by the knowledge that the big XC90 T6 only has a 2-litre petrol mill. It's what the engine delivers that really matters.
The new Volvo XC90 is unashamedly large, but it looks quite balanced and it exudes an air of elegant sophistication. Of particular note, a very large front grille and those 21-inch alloys, which suggest that this vehicle is not going to be spending a lot of time off the road.
But nobody will deny that this is a handsome machine. It expresses a certain clarity of purpose and pure style that is typically Scandinavian and a far cry from Volvo's boxy, boring efforts of old. Smooth integration, smart detailing and an overall sense of balance and composure make for an almost regal presence that's both authoritative and compelling. And despite its considerable girth, those generous proportions never get in the way of the XC90's overall appeal. It's a theme that continues inside the vehicle.
The interior features a minimalist, typically Scandinavian design, but there's also a lot of high tech, dominated of course by this very large, vertically orientated touchscreen display, which is a first in automotive terms and makes a lot of sense once you use it, and even the instruments themselves, which are virtual and use a TFT display, which changes depending on function.
The result is intuitive, user-friendly access to the XC90's extended list of functions and features. The vertical screen orientation is a masterstroke, and the entire interface sets new standards for accessibility and ease of use. And no, you don't need to be a tech whiz to use it either. Unsurprisingly, the interior accommodation is generous to say the least, while the trim and finishes exude upmarket appeal. As we've come to expect of Volvo, safety is a priority, and in fact, the XC90 not only earned 5 stars in the Euro NCAP crash safety ratings, but was the top-scoring large SUV in the 2015 test. The boot offers plenty of space too. But let's take a closer look at the big Swede's drivetrain.
This XC90 T6's 4-cylinder 2-litre engine seems almost impossibly humble for such a large and heavy car, but the stats suggest otherwise. Maximum power 235 kilowatt, linked to 400 newton meters of torque, and of course the real secret behind this engine is the fact that it's both turbo and supercharged.
In practice, the 4-cylinder always feels more muscular than expected. Quite simply, it reacts to throttle inputs like a bigger, brawnier power plant. Power is fed to the wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox and an all-wheel drive system that favors the front wheels, but gradually feeds the urge to the rear axle when more traction is required. What does all of this mean on the road?
Any fears that the XC90 T6 might be big on promise but short on performance are quickly allayed once you actually start driving the car. It gets off the mark with great alacrity, 0 to 100 times 6.5 seconds. The top speed are very useful, 230 kilometers an hour, and there's no lag here at all despite the small engine. It just really goes and goes with great linear aggression.
Perhaps more importantly for most XC90 owners is the SUV's cruising ability. It certainly feels effortless at the legal limit, taking hills in its stride with ease and never feeling out of breath. Refinement levels are mostly impressive, although those big 21-inch alloys tend to amplify compromised road surfaces. Given that the Volvo is almost 5 meters long and 1.77 meters tall, and that it weighs just over 2 tons, handling is composed and even agile, with a satisfyingly positive turn-in and good balance. The suspension soaks up much of the rough stuff, but never feels too soft or too wallowy.
It's taken Volvo a very long time to replace the aging first generation XC90, but it's been well worth the wait. It's a commanding vehicle with a functional, elegant design, lots of dynamic vigour, and a very comfortable and large interior. Question is, of course, whether this vehicle will make BMW and Mercedes-Benz, who also compete in the sector, a little bit nervous, and we think there's every reason to be.
Four cylinders and 2 litres don't seem enough for a 2-ton luxury SUV, but in reality, there's ample power and torque, even for those who enjoy driving with a measure of intent. Elegant looks and a spacious 7-seater cabin with tech that actually works also count in this Volvo's favour. But this is very much a soft-roader when it comes to the rough stuff, and those big wheels and tyres rob the SUV of some of its refinement.